I forget what my first name is, but my persona is a leopard.
Okay. How do I find out my persona?
You gotta feel it out, man.
Oh, I'm curious.
Ticket Snubs episode 3. Right, we made it to the third one.
Oh my god.
Today's episode, we will be discussing the Master versus the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Andreas versus John Gifford, Giffy Gaffardo. Now, before we get into that, we're going to be discussing Cam's recommendation from last week. Cam, talk a little bit.
Okay, so my film from last week was Lost Highway by David Lynch. And personally, I believe that Lost Highway is one of his more understandable films. to me. Like, you kind of grasp what's going on early for me. At least I did. So I really don't know how to talk about it without spoiling anything.
No, we're spoiling it. Yeah, we've all seen it.
Okay, there's spoilers.
I would like spoilers because I don't know what just happened.
Okay, spoiler alert. So
yeah, everything's been spoiled.
All right. So I'm going to talk about what the movie was about, and then we'll get what y'all thought about it, what y'all's theories were. So basically, it's about a jazz musician and his wife. Was it his wife? Yeah, his wife.
That was his wife, yeah.
Yeah, jazz musician, his wife. He suspects that she's cheating on him. So he kind of murders her, but he doesn't really realize it because, plot twist, he's schizophrenic. Oh my god, what? Did y'all pick up on that?
No.
Well, there you go.
I did not.
So the jazz musician is sent to jail, and then he disappears, and the prison guards are like, what? And then it takes a totally different turn, and now we are looking at a totally different person and a totally different life. It's this young car dude who is cooler than the jazz musician.
Debatably.
Yeah, I guess. And then we have his girlfriend who looks exactly like the jazz musician's wife, except with a wig. So in prison, maybe the schizophrenic jazz musician was maybe creating a fantasy for himself as a younger, cooler dude that's out of prison and free with a cooler young wife, and a whole bunch of other stuff happens. It's just a lot. It's really hard to talk about, but that's all I've really gathered from it. And then another important part, the jazz musician and the wife, there is like this creepy pale guy who records them and sends it to them. It's really creepy. I hope all that made sense because it was really hard to explain. So yeah, what did we think?
Okay, I think I'll start. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so what I thought of the film, I thought it was a very well acted, very well shot, and technically speaking, the film is great, completely.
Right.
But the plot, the soundtrack was great too. The music was
the soundtrack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Despite the scene where he's playing the saxophone, and I got a little bit of an epileptic, episode.
I had a seizure.
I'm not epileptic, but I felt like I was suffering when I watched that scene. But overall, I thought that the production design and the production in general was very, very sound. But the plot lost me completely. Like it's pretty straightforward. Like I was like, okay, this is David Lynch, for the first 40-ish minutes. Yeah. And then once what's his name? I forgot his name. The car dude comes in.
Oh no. Yeah, the car dude.
Once Fred transformed to the car dude.
Oh, Fred.
His name is Pete.
Pete, right? Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so once Fred transforms into Pete, I was lost. I was like, who is this guy? And then once Patricia Arquette's character came in, I think she was Alice at that point, I was like, what? Did she die or did she not die? Who is that guy in the suit who is running people off the cliffs,
Yeah.
Who is, what's happening? And then at the end, Pete transforms back into Fred. And then he kills the bad guy. Yeah, with the help of the pale man, who's just, I don't know, with his camera. And then something happens with Patricia Arquette in the cabin. I don't know what happens. And he drives off to his house leaves a message, the message that we heard in the beginning of the film, and then drives off, and then the credits end.
Here's what I think. I think either, yeah, okay, so the schizophrenic jazz musician, he did create a fantasy of himself as a younger dude, and then when he turns back into Fred in the ending, maybe he escaped prison because it comes back full circle. Maybe he escaped prison. Who knows?
But then how does he hear the message?
See, that's where I'd get lost again, and that's the beauty of
What
David Lynch.
what if in the beginning the message there was never a message. It was all like a schizophrenic, auditory
Yeah, maybe it was a
hallucination.
dream. Maybe it was a
Yeah.
dream. Who knows?
And then at the end he completes that dream like a prophecy of sorts.
There you go. Wow. It's beautiful.
I
What's
have
your
my own
thoughts,
little
John?
theory. Okay, so for the first half hour, I hated it so much. But it's about a
Typical
half
John.
hour, I was like, I hate this. When they started receiving the videotapes, the wife said something. I haven't seen it in like a few weeks, or a week, whatever it was. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it took me super off guard, and I was like, that's really stupid. Like, she came up with some kind of excuse as to where the tapes were coming from, and I was like, that's really dumb. Some kind of realtor or something.
Really? Because the
Yeah,
tape
the real
parts-
estate thing.
Yeah,
Can I add on to something that John just said?
yeah.
The tapes. When she first takes the tape and he's like, "Where'd you get it? What is that?" And she just looks at him and is like, "Tape."
Okay, yeah, that is funny.
I found her reaction to the tapes very unrealistic.
Yeah, she didn't seem too freaked out about it.
Not at all.
It freaked me out. The tape parts, they honestly creep me out a lot.
Reminded me a lot of Cachet, if you guys have ever seen that.
I have
Um,
not,
I-
but I want
I
to
have
get to
not.
I want to get to Michael Haneke's work very much.
And that boy.
Oh, I know the plot though. I know the general gist. I haven't seen it though, but I understand where you're coming from with that.
But as soon as the scene where the mysterious man at the party, which I think is one of the most unsettling scenes ever in the film, I thought was fantastic.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Walks up to him and he's like, "I'm at your house right now," kind of thing.
That was scary. That was
I
brilliant.
was so intrigued from that point on. Now, I pictured the man as Fred's jealousy and anger that is introduced as an almost unhuman-like kind of haunting man that's haunting him even in his dreams. Like he sees him as his wife's face when they're in bed.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
That
I
scene was
feel-
kind of funny.
yes, and I think Fred mainly encaptures his anger in this man because of his sexual frustration with his wife. Like when they're in bed together, he finishes too early, so she kind of like pats him on the back like he's a little boy, and she's like,
Yeah.
and I love how Lynch leads us to believe that it has been framed by the mysterious man for killing his wife, but in reality, it was him, and
It was him. Yeah.
as if to make the film even more confusing. The storyline completely shifts, like talking about to the character Pete, different kind of environment, different scenario. His love interest is very similar, like we also discussed, and much like Fred probably enjoyed in his mind, considering this is his fantasy. I enjoyed this half of the film a lot more than the first. When detectives are shuffling through his house and they're looking for hints as to who sent the tapes, and they ask him if he owns a video camera, and he's like, "Oh, I enjoy seeing things how I want to see them." Basically directly just says the second half of the movie is a fantasy in his mind. He's seeing his life to see it. He's a much cooler, younger kid, hanging out with this gangster kind of guy. That's why his wife is literally the same, just with a different haircut. That's why they have sex all the time, because now he can finally sexually satisfy his wife.
Yeah.
this-
Oh.
Yep.
See,
He's getting it.
Like
He's getting it.
yeah.
Right towards the end of the movie, when they have sex in front of the cabin, and he finishes too early, and she's like,
That
"You
scene was crazy. You'll never have me. That's what she says.
that's when he turns back
That
into
was
Fred,
weird.
because now his fantasy has been completely erased because he yet again can't even sexually satisfy his fake wife. And that's
Yep.
when the creepy looking boy comes out of the cabin and starts chasing him, because now he's being chased down by his jealousy and self-hatred once more. That's why he
That
starts
scene was so scary. It scared me
that's
so
him
bad.
dying in death row. He's on death row the whole time, and I think him running from the police and just screaming at the car and contorting into that weird looking thing is just him dying.
Maybe.
Yeah, and while I was watching the movie, my friend texted me, asked what I was watching, and I told her it was Lost Highway, and she was like, "Oh, I've never seen it before. Is it any good?" And I told her I had no clue how to assign a numerical value to it. And then it ended, and I told her that I've assigned a number, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. And thanks for recommending it to me, because I loved it.
You're welcome. I'm doing
fantastic.
God's work.
Now that I know that David Lynch is the Rammstein, I think that's incredible.
Yeah, the soundtrack was great. The beginning with the David Bowie song, Perfect. Chef's kiss.
Part of Marilyn Manson in there too.
So no wonder Cam likes it.
No, that's a good song.
Hey, that's a fair reason to like something.
It's literally called I'm Deranged, and the whole movie is just deranged. So it gets you strapped in for a crazy film.
Yeah,
It's everything
well, I thought the film was very like surface value, where I thought everything was happening for real. So I didn't really pick up on the whole Fred becoming or going into his subconscious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I literally did not pick up on any of this metaphor. I literally was like, they're having sex in the desert.
Yeah, that happened nonstop, really. Well, I'm glad y'all liked it.
Wait,
PJ?
what did PJ think?
Yeah, PJ, what'd you think?
I'm still processing.
True, it took it. I was thinking about it for like weeks. So
For context for our dear listeners, I literally finished watching it 5 minutes before we started recording.
true.
And
I really
I mean, I thought it was the soundtrack was definitely the best part of it for me.
Huh.
I really liked when Ed goes fucking gets more pussy than a toilet seat.
That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah.
That was a great line. I'm trying to think of other things. I like it more than Mulholland Drive, which is kind of crazy to hear, but I don't know. I just connected with it more than I did Mulholland Drive, even though they're both great.
Really divided on this movie. Like, even if you look at the critical ratings, like, I mean, don't trust Rotten Tomatoes, but it has like a 59 or something.
I know. I think it's really underrated. Like one of his most underrated films.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I think because I was very like I didn't really pick up on a lot of the metaphors and the symbolism within the movie. I think I had a harder time enjoying it, but the dialogue, like when Mr. Eddie, it's like very comedic at times, definitely, because like especially when Mr. Eddie's like, do you like pornos?
That was
like,
so random.
Pornos, and he's like, do they give you a boner?
Yeah,
and he's like, nope. And he's like, well, so you're so like, I'm just thinking about the dialogue. I was like, yeah.
Funny.
I think that the film can also be seen as a self-insert for David Lynch, because I remember reading somewhere that David Lynch has the same philosophy on video cameras that Fred Madison does, where he doesn't like to record things and see them how they actually are, and he likes to remember them how he remembers them.
Yeah.
So maybe it's David Lynch kind of like manifesting his own insecurity into becoming a Giga Chad.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later in our other argument about the two movies, because I have something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When he said that, I kept notes for like the first half hour. When he said that line, I cringed.
DJ made popcorn in the middle of his movie.
Wait, which line?
I was like, you know what? I need something to keep me down.
Which
and
line?
The popcorn kept me down. I like to remember things my own way. I was like, oh my god, this guy.
The line, well, that's David Lynch for you. He's a very pretentious guy.
Yeah.
I don't think David Lynch is my type.
I don't think David Lynch is my type of movie.
Y'all are breaking my heart.
I love Blue Velvet, but
I'm
not. Yeah.
It's just not for me. It's just.
It's just not for me. Yeah.
Understandable.
But respect for him.
Do what?
But respect to him.
Yeah, still respect. Yeah.
I agree with David Lynch fully on the phone, on his stance on telephones.
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
Because David Lynch has been quoted as saying, "You will never in a billion years watch a film if you watch it on a fucking telephone."
Oh.
Get real.
True. Well, John, I'm glad John liked it. Thank you, John.
No problem, Cam. Send more.
Okay.
I think David Lynch is fantastic. I was rather new, especially when you recommended me this. I just want to watch more.
There you go. Watch Blue Velvet next.
Yes, it's on Amazon Prime, I think.
I've already watched it. I texted you as soon as
yeah, you did. You did.
I watched.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I also love the little silver earrings, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's hot. Okay, well, that's Lost Highway. Everyone go check it out. Let me know what y'all think of it. So thank you.
All right, so that was the discussion on Cam's recommendation, Lost Highway by David Lynch. What did you think? Do you agree with Cam and John, or were you as lost as I was? Let us know. Leave your comments. Email me. Check out my LinkedIn. Just let me know, please. I'm begging.
Let me know also.
Oh yeah, you should probably tell. This was Cam's recommendation.
I was
so
the
yeah.
recommender.
We'll drop our letterboxes down in the description.
Yep. But with that out of the way, it is now time. It is now time for the debate. We're going to be talking about The Master, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, defended by Andres.
Hello.
Up against Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, directed by someone.
Michel Gondry.
Yep, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name.
It's French. Not that
hard.
It's okay.
Defended by John Gifford Gifficafardo. Now, the categories we'll be using the same categories as normal. Plot/characters, then acting, then technical. Today's custom category will be the emotional impact in it being existential crises. And then finally, the impact on the film industry as a whole. Now, Cam, Rama, and I will be the moderators for today. Who would like to start our discussion on plot/characters for these movies?
Well, since John went first in the first episode, I think it'd only be fair if I go first here.
Oh, this is your first time debating.
This is my first time, yes.
It's first time on the floor.
Yeah,
You're gonna get slandered.
I'm very afraid. So John, go easy on me. I supported you for Evil Dead 2, so maybe that'll mean something.
I would really like it if we just stopped talking about Evil Dead 2. Personally,
I'm never going to stop talking about that movie.
Me either, Cam. Me either.
Amen, brother.
All right, so section 1, plot and characters.
For the Master.
For the Master.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the general plot of The Master surrounds this former World War II veteran named Freddie Quell, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and he's this alcoholic, just general deviant in society.
The Joker.
Yeah, he's basically like a more toned down version of Arthur Fleck. Yeah. But so the inciting incident is that one night after he accidentally poisons the guy, or intentionally, it's up to interpretation, whatever, he stumbles upon this ship owned by Lancaster Dodd, or the Master, who is the leader of this religion cult movement known as the Cause, which is essentially focused on remembering past lives throughout the entirety of time. And with that, he basically becomes enveloped in the Cause and this crazy, crazy world surrounding Lancaster Dodd. And with the characters, of course, you have the three titular or main characters being Freddie Quell, played by Joaquin Phoenix, Lancaster Dodd, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace, and Peggy Dodd, his wife, played by Amy Adams. And I'm just telling you, these characters are fantastic. Each and every single one of them. They're all complex in their own ways. Joaquin Phoenix he gives so much life to Freddie Quell, and Freddie himself as a character on the page is very complex because he's not exactly, he means well, but also he has a temper, right? So he's also extremely self-destructive in a way where he can't go on by himself. So that's why he really wants to be part of the Cause, because it gives him a reason to do what he does, which is drink and pick fights.
Right.
And then you also have Lancaster Dodd himself, who is, when you first see him, he's like this very charismatic, very easygoing L. Ron Hubbard type guy, which is the inspiration for the character, L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology. But as you go through the film, you realize that he doesn't know what he's doing. Because there's a great scene with him and Laura Dern, where Laura Dern sits him down and asks him, why did you change this thing in the Cause handbook? And he just flips his shit. He's like,
that part made me.
Oh my god, yeah. That was Laura Dern.
Yeah, that was Laura Dern. That part made me angry. I said, you better stop yelling at Laura Dern.
Yeah, and I thought,
oh my god, I couldn't think of who that was. Thank you.
Bruh.
Yeah, and I thought that scene was fantastic because it shows that he puts up a big front, a big persona for, the cameras or the press junkets or whatever. But deep down, when you actually pinpoint certain things about the Cause, he can't back himself up because he really doesn't know anything. Everything he does, he's making up as he goes along. Same thing with the party scene where the guy really pushes in at him like, oh, how does this cure leukemia? How exactly does this do this? And how are you exactly remembering past lives? And again, Lancaster flips his shit at this guy, and even Freddy's goes out of his way to beat the shit out of him for questioning the Cause.
Yeah.
Which also goes into his character of this follower, of someone who needs to be a follower, who needs a master to follow, because by himself. You saw when he was working at the mall. He's not a very productive member of society. He is constantly drinking. He's constantly picking fights. He's constantly hooking up with women. And he's generally just being this extremely self-destructive guy because that's all he knew. Especially like when you look at the fact that he's a veteran, which is very important to his character. Because in the army, it's very much like you're following a leader. But now without that in society, he doesn't have that anymore. So what does he do? He goes back to drinking. He goes back to being a miscreant. And that's until he finds Lancaster Dodd, who gives him that push, that guidance, or that he fills in the role of that master that he needs. So that's all I got for plot and characters.
I have a question about certain characters.
Mm-hmm.
A character that stuck out most to me was Amy Adams.
Oh, okay.
Because I love Amy Adams,
Of
and
course.
I thought her character was very sweet. And then the bathroom scene. I think we need to discuss that.
Oh yes,
I was
I'd love to.
confused.
That part made me like I skipped it because I hated every second of it.
Did she actually gain weight for the movie?
Yes, she did. But okay, so that's the bathroom scene with her and Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? That's the scene we're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that scene serves a purpose because it shows that she views Freddie and Lancaster like what they're doing in terms of like the drinking, and it's very implied that Lancaster had an affair with Laura Dern's character. So I think it's showing that Peggy, Amy Adams' character, knows about this and that she's treating him as an animal by masturbating him and essentially making her sexually dominating him in order to impose a certain dominance.
Wasn't that her dad though?
Who?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
No, they were married.
Wait.
No,
I thought
it's that
Amy Adams was married to Rami
Amy
Malek.
Adams and Rami Malek were married.
No,
Yes.
That was Amy Adams. No, okay. So
What?
Philip Seymour Hoffman's character has had multiple wives, as it said in the film. So that's why there's a big age disparity. That's why Amy Adams' character is much younger than, or she seems to be much younger than Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, and about a little bit older than his children, who are adults.
I thought that Amy Adams was Philip Seymour Hoffman's daughter.
That's a different character.
Oh.
No, it was not.
Yeah, it was.
I have to go back and watch that scene, even though I don't want to.
Yeah. No, but I do see the point of the scene because it's not gratuitous. It's not gratuitous in any way. It shows that Peggy is resorting to the same animalistic tactics that Lancaster and Freddie indulge themselves into when no one's looking, as saying that, look, if you play by these rules, I'll play by the rules too. But I'm going to make sure that no one finds out because this cause means too much to me.
I literally thought that was Amy Adams. Like, I just keep thinking about it now. All right, well, good answer.
Any
John?
other questions about the plot and characters of the Master?
I have none.
None? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Wait. Whoa. Did someone just say that Amy Adams wasn't the one who was jerking off Philip?
No, okay, so what happened is
I
that...
thought that was her.
No, that was her.
It was.
That was Amy Adams, but Amy Adams played his wife.
No, because Amy Adams got married to Rami Malek.
No, that was a different charter. That was a different actor.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
no, yeah,
Yes, it was.
in that scene. Watch the scene.
No. It was so Amy Adams was pregnant and she was with remember in the beginning she was like something number wife because all the other ones like she said like she was like all the other ones speak or like leave or something. I don't really remember, but Rami Malek gets married to
I thought he got
daughter
married
I'm watching it right now.
God, why don't I remember this movie? I watched it like 2 days ago. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
Oh wait, yeah, you are right. I'm watching the scene right now.
Yeah, she's sitting on the chairs.
Yeah, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is husband and wife.
Mm-hmm. So it's weird, but not for the reason you think it is.
I don't know why I thought that she was his daughter. I apologize.
It's okay. No, that's the beauty of film. It's all up to interpretation.
Very true. John, it's your turn.
Okay, so Little Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is directed by Michael Gonorrhea or whatever his name is. Gonorrhea.
Michel Gondry.
Gonorrhea.
Yeah, Michelle
Gonorrhea.
Donnery.
Yeah, I literally thought you said gonorrhea.
Michelle Donnery.
Sorry.
You good? And it stars Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet. It is a love story unlike any other. So I'm basically just going to go through like how the plot kind of reveals itself in a sense and what it means, if that's okay.
Yeah,
You do that.
that's plot and characters.
Mhm.
So, film begins making you feel very disoriented, much like Joel himself, because you're not really sure of what's going on. We're shown many snippets of the relationship without knowing their time frame or their impact on the story. Soon after this, we're introduced to Clementine at the same time that Joel is introduced to her, or so we think until we realize that they've in fact met before. It's after this that we begin to see their story in reverse. It's such a new and original, exciting way to tell a love story. I love it so much. The screenplay and the way the story is told is just as fragmented as Joel on purpose, supposed to make you feel what's going on there. Charlie Kaufman, who wrote the movie, based Joel off himself and his own personal input on how he views relationships. I think is great. See, at the end of the film, we've experienced one giant loop. Now we understand how the new information that's revealed to us fits into the older ones. Many people in their everyday lives do things in relationships that makes them feel as if they want to click a reset button. But Sunshine explores that idea by showing us two characters who are destined to restart their relationship over and over. It's a never-ending cycle of two people be together, but they know they aren't right for each other, and it all eventually just ends. Sunshine explores the theory of predestination as if we all have a set path. We as the audience understand that if this is indeed a time loop, Clementine's impulsiveness throughout the story will in fact lead her to get the procedure done over and over. So it's just one giant loop. If we do analyze the quote that's prominent in the movie, which is how happy is the blameless vessel's lot, the world forgetting by the world forgot, eternal sunshine, spotless mind, each prayer accepted, each wish resigned. The phrase how happy is the blameless vessel's lot, Joel and Clementine are both blameless vessels that are happy, because the mind is happiest when it first finds things that are spotless or new, exciting, much like the beginning of a relationship. The eternal sunshine in the quote alludes to eternal happiness that one can only find in something that is spotless. Kaufman proves that the only time we are truly happy is in new love. And if new love is the only thing that maintains happiness, isn't it only noble that the world be forgot in the process? I just love that. And I think it describes the plot in a nutshell. That's really my plot and characters.
Do you want to explain the characters more, like Clementine? Because
Yeah, sure.
I think she has a lot to talk about.
So Clementine is very impulsive. She's very outgoing. She kind of does things as they feel necessary to her. For instance, like when she gets the procedure first done, she's instantly on to another man's hobbit. How do I explain this? She's dating this guy who is basically
Frodo.
Yeah, he's a hobbit. He has stolen things from Joel's procedure so he can copy the relationship that he had with Clementine, because he in his own way cannot live up to what that was. So even when they're on the ice together, he mentions a line that Joel said, and that makes Clementine for a brief moment out of the procedure at like the work that's been done, and she's like, oh, wait a second, I've heard this before. And then she's like, I want to go home. It starts another Clementine spiral from there. Also very pushy when they meet each other on the train. Constantly sits next to him. She starts talking to him. He obviously doesn't want anything to do with it, yet she keeps pushing him. It's pretty cool. Joel is very also really focuses on himself more than anybody else. He really just is kind of searching for the answers of what makes somebody happy. He often will look at girls and just imagine himself with them, even though he can't. He even states that he falls in love with every girl that he looks at. He draws all these things in his sketchbook of what he wishes his relationships were like and everything like that. But when he is finally in the relationship that he's always wanted to be in, he's not exactly happy. Even when they go get food at the Chinese food place, he's like, I don't want to be one of those couples that eats at the same place all the time, but yet there they are sitting at the Chinese food place again. But I mean, Joel is not going to do anything about that. He's not one to voice his opinion. And when he does, it ends in a giant argument from Clementine, blaming her that she's sleeping with other people and stuff. Yeah, I guess that would be it for my plot.
Any more questions for John?
Hold on. Let's think about how I want to formulate this. The plot. Oh yeah, John, can you speak more on the I don't know if I want to call it sci-fi necessarily, but yeah, just like the memory wiping procedure.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
It's a really interesting aspect.
So Joel's friends basically they realize that he's upset. So he's like, look, his friend's like, I'm not supposed to show you this, but look at this. He looks at a card and it says Clementine Krasinski has erased Joel Barish from her mind. So he's like, okay, that's kind of weird. He goes to the place that gets this procedure done, and he decides that he wants to get the procedure done himself because it's a place that's made to help you erase memories of things that you want to forget. There's someone sitting there with the belongings of a dog that passed away, like, because they're sad and they want to go leave their sadness, so might as well just get rid of the thought. But yeah, so he gets the procedure done, and the rest of the movie is him basically falling in love with her again as his memories are getting erased. It's really good.
All right. Any more questions for John?
With that, if there's nothing else left to be said by John or Andreas, we're ready to move into acting.
I wanted to say one more thing.
You want to say one?
I think the sand person has a purpose.
The sand person has a purpose.
Yeah. So a lot of you guys were very confused when you saw Joaquin Phoenix humping a sand person in the beginning.
I thought that was just the boys being boys.
Yeah,
on the surface, yes, that can be seen as the boys being boys, but on a deeper level, it shows the sexual deprivation that Freddie Quill goes through, and also kind of like how he directs his masculinity, and it also contrasts with how Lancaster Dodd portrays his masculinity, because he uses his masculinity in a very charismatic way, in a much like a fatherly way, right? Instead of the more bachelor way of Freddie Quill. So I see that as a very great dichotomy that makes the pairing between Lancaster Dodd and Freddie Quill much more interesting and much more complex, because they both have that same machismo but channeled in very different ways and to varying successes. So that's why Joaquin Phoenix humps a sand person in the first 15 minutes of the film.
Nice.
All right. Thank you for that much needed clarification.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think we're ready to move into acting. Since Andreas started us off, I think John should get the floor. Acting in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Let's hear it.
Okay. I believe that Jim Carrey's performance in Eternal Sunshine is his best next to Truman Show. Both are very style roles. Especially in Eternal Sunshine, like, he is playing this extremely, basically just depressed dive into how it feels to be in a relationship, and he portrays it perfectly. And yet he's still able to showcase what made him famous in the first place, which was his quirky, hilarious facial expressions and body acting. That's mainly prominent when it's the Little Joel scene where he's under the table wanting cookies and trying to get...
Oh, I love that scene.
I hate that scene.
I love it.
I also hate that
I love
scene.
it because it's zero CGI.
I hate it.
Great.
Wait, there's no CGI?
Mm-mm.
Nope. All practical. Camera work.
Interesting.
It's the same technique they use in Lord of the Rings to make the
Who's
hobbits
in
small.
rooms? Huh. Okay.
Thank you for
yeah.
feeding my,
I still hate it. Continue.
Yeah, and there is not one moment in the film where Clementine and Joel's relationship is not believable. They have fantastic chemistry together. I love every second of it. I can't really say that child actors are really good in it, because, like, child actors are never really good.
Exactly.
The ones featured in here did a fine job. Yeah, I think everybody all around just did fantastic. It's not even just talking about Joel and Clementine. You get Mark Ruffalo, Kirsten Dunst, whoever the old man doctor is that's in, like, everything, and I always forget his name. Fantastic. You buy their relationship a lot too. Elijah Wood is the typical pretentious douchebag that I feel like he is in real life, so I think he did great.
Oh my god. Sorry, Elijah Wood, if you're hearing this.
Yeah. Elijah Wood listening to
I feel like that's exactly how he would be. Yeah, I don't know. I love it.
Can you speak more on Kate Winslet?
Yeah, she portrays Clementine as perfectly as you can. I think she's superbly cast for the role. She's also very versatile. There are many moments where she is screaming because she's crying at Elijah Wood being a pretentious douchebag.
Me too.
There's moments where she's beaming with joy when she's with Joel, especially the scene where it's raining in the room and then it goes to their childhood flashback. That's fantastic. You can really see the decline of the relationship told by everyone's performance, especially hers.
All right.
Okay, so it's my
yes.
turn to go into acting.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to quote John in something he said before we started recording. He said, "The master is acting the movie." And I cannot agree more. I understand that 2012 was a very tough year when it came to the acting nominations, but if Daniel Day-Lewis did not play Lincoln that year, I know for sure Joaquin Phoenix would have won for Freddy.
Oh
12.
yeah.
Because he gives so much energy, and it's something that Joaquin Phoenix is known for. Like, he really throws himself into that character. You like, whenever he's like getting into a scrap with somebody, or he's just going off the rails during the scenes with the processing, which I'll get to later. But Joaquin throws himself both physically and emotionally into this role. Like, he feels so many emotions. Like, he is crying, he is manically laughing, like PJ said, laughing at inappropriate times. It's very
Joker.
It's like the Joker, but
The Master is the Joker.
yeah, it's like his Joker character, but done in a much more competently directed way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I definitely saw that on the screen. I was like, this is just Joker, except with the religious cult.
Yeah, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Oh my god, how did he not win an Oscar for that role? He was fantastic as Lancaster Dodd, because you really you fall for it too. You get into this cause, this whole sensation with the cause. Because he's so charismatic. He's just a very chill. He seems as a very chill guy in the beginning, but as I said before, you start to peel back those layers, and he's just this guy who does not want to pay taxes and starts his own religion deep down, just like
that.
Because there are people like Lancaster Dodd in the real world. L. Ron Hubbard is a perfect example. So,
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it can be argued the extent that Paul Thomas Anderson took from Scientology and its history into The Master, but it can't be denied that Lancaster Dodd is a very realistic character who uses his charisma to really get ahead. And then when people question his own charismatic ways or the ways that he's preaching, even though he doesn't really know what he's preaching, he clearly loses his calm. Yeah, he loses his calm at those people. And Freddy is almost like a lapdog to him,
Yeah.
Where whenever he loses his cool, Freddy's there to execute on it.
Except for the prison scene where they both lose their cool.
Oh, the prison scene, that was fantastic. That was a fantastic bit of
That was
acting.
nice.
Because it's all done in like one setup, only like two cameras, and you just see these two actors acting, which I love. Not a lot of movies do that anymore, where they just cut up everything. You just see these two guys, these two pros at the top of their game, just going at it, and I love that. And Amy Adams is fantastic in her role, however small it may be. She very much portrays this sort of like, it's implied that she's not truly in love with Lancaster Dodd, because she's just kind of like pushing him around to be more forthcoming with the cause, even when he as a fault of his own charismatic ways doesn't defend himself or what he believes in. So I thought she did a very good job of being that kind of push for Philip Seymour Hoffman's character. But the crowning jewel of this movie that I have to talk about is the processing scene about 30 minutes into the movie.
I was really drawn into those scenes.
The processing scene.
That's like a 15-minute scene that feels like 2 minutes.
Where Joaquin Phoenix is like, I don't know. That scene.
Yes, that scene is fantastic because, again, it's one setup, just two cameras, and you just watch Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman you watch him answer these questions, and I love... I love how he starts off with Philip Seymour asks him if he killed anybody. He says no. And then as he keeps pushing more and more, you see that Joaquin starts to, he portrays that breaking feeling, that feeling of breaking under pressure so well. And especially when he gets to admit that he committed incest in his past, and that he has...
Nasty.
Yeah, and that he has a girl back home that he basically abandoned, and all his regrets start to surface. That's really where you get to see that Freddy has become in the palm of Lancaster Dodd's cause, because I can't really speak from experiences. I haven't been audited by the Church of Scientology, but I can imagine that having someone completely wreck you psychologically without you even knowing is something that gets you to believe in something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I have to say for acting. Oh, also, Laura Dern's character was great for what little screen time she had. Yes.
I would like to comment.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I would like to hold Amy Adams' hand.
Amy Adams needs an Academy Award ASAP.
We are going to get her an Oscar one day.
God, I'm just... how has she not won yet?
We will get Amy Adams the Oscar for The Muppets 3. Do not worry, guys.
Amen.
She will get it.
Someone kick PJ out, please.
You know what? I can kick you out. I can kick you out.
I'm with PJ. I love the Muppets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the first one, but the second one I haven't seen. So
Okay,
No, we talk about the second one. We don't talk about the
either.
second one.
the
Okay.
second one very forgettable.
okay, but that's all I have for acting. I thought that the three principal characters of Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams did a fantastic job of what they were given, and especially with Paul Thomas Anderson, who is known for giving such fantastic performances out of actors that even you don't expect from. Like Adam Sandler gave a great performance in Punch Drunk Love under his direction. So it's good to see that what Paul Thomas Anderson can do with masters of their craft, not pun unintended,
Haha.
like Joaquin, Philip, and Amy. So that's all I have for acting.
And Laura Dern.
And Laura Dern.
I say like one more thing. This doesn't really help me at all. I just want to say because you made me think about it. I think Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet perfectly portray a couple in a super long relationship where they're kind of semi-tired of each other, but they still want to keep going on. Like I said before, eating at the same restaurant, being tired of that, just doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, for sure. And that's testament to like not only the talent, but the fact that they spend so much time together for the filming. So I really appreciate the dedication they put into forming their
Maybe they
characters.
were dating secretly. Who knows?
So is it technical time?
I think it's technical time.
Time. Who's first?
Mm.
I think I'm first because...
Yeah, keep going back and forth. So
okay. All right, so I'm going to start by saying that, technically speaking, both films do different things very well. So with Eternal Sunshine, I think that the creativity in the filmmaking is second to none, personally. But I also think that's sort of a road that's paved by the screenplay because of how creative and how fantastic it is. But with The Master, I think that it takes these tenets of filmmaking like cinematography, score, production design, and just really shows you what a fantastic looking film can be. My main focus is the cinematography with this because the film is not only colorful, but it has excellent use of focus. Pretty much every scene has this fantastic depth of field effect around it, which really sucks you into that world. It kind of puts to the head of Freddie Quell himself because he doesn't really care about the world around him. He only cares about what he's seeing with his own two eyes. He only cares about the cause and booze and humping sand people. And also, which also comes into play with the scene where they're dancing in the house and they become naked all of a sudden.
Okay, that scene reminded me of like Hereditary. First time.
The first two times I saw it, I thought it was for real. I thought it was surface value. But the third time I watched it, I kind of saw it as Freddy's own imagination because he's so bored by watching these people dance that he's not even he's a loner. He doesn't really like to engage.
So it was a dream?
Well, I see it as a dream.
Like
that's my interpretation. Like it's just like so a guy so bored and a loner who doesn't want to engage in that kind of social function. Why wouldn't he picture everyone naked?
Yeah, I thought it was really happening. So I mean, it could go both ways. So,
yeah. But also, if you notice, the men aren't naked. So I that's kind of where I come from it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, the film is absolutely beautiful to look at. It's colorful. It's shot. I know that the film they used wasn't tampered as much as in most films, so it's at a higher resolution. And also the score by Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead.
The score was very good.
He basically takes what he did in There Will Be Blood and amplifies it because it's this very bassy, very droning score that puts you into this very repetitive nature of The Cause, because The Cause is a very tradition-driven, where they do things by the book or by the word of Lancaster Dodd. So I thought that kind of uniform score really helped with the film's atmosphere.
Any questions for the Master Technical?
No.
Okay, moving on to John with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind Technical.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, I think the musical score is excellent. Combines beautiful, quirky clarinet with a whole different combination of instruments. Each track in Eternal Sunshine has its own meaning and style. Like Clementine has her own little theme, so does Joel. There's a theme where they're both like doing stuff, theme where they're all sad, stuff like that. Cinematography is superb. No one can deny that the shot of the two lying on the ice is one of the most memorable shots in cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Much like the shot from The Master of Joaquin Phoenix on top of the boat, lying down. That's also one of the best shots, I think, in movie history. The film also has one of the most impressive, not just one of them, all the scene transitions are incredible, especially the one of him walking from the library into the doorway.
Oh my god.
Oh, yes.
Transition so much.
That's
And
hot.
how it's done with no editing, pretty much.
Yeah, it's so good. But even the editing is like they have to combine all of these different elements of the relationship into one kind of semi-montage, and it works beautifully. Some of the camera work is absolutely seamless, especially the scene where Joel is chasing Clementine through the streets and keeps ending up in the same section. It's fantastic. Let's see what else I was gonna do. And then Drake's basically said what I was gonna say about how the screenplay's creativity just feeds into all the phenomenal staging and directing. So many memorable scenes. Even them in the bathtub. It all looks nothing but the sink. It all looks fantastic.
I have a question about the camera work. I think I read wasn't all the camera work done by a music video director or something?
Yeah, Michel Gondry, he started off with music videos and stop motion animation.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
he also made a show which I love dearly called Moral Oral. If any of you have watched that,
Wait, what's it
Charlie
what's it called?
Moral Oral.
He made Moral Oral?
Yes, and Charlie and also wrote some of Moral Oral. If any of you have ever watched that show, it's great. It's a stop motion show. Each episode is about 8 minutes long. It's on Hulu, and it's just a little kid going to church every Sunday and taking a lesson from God completely wrong and being a bad kid, and it's very funny.
I didn't know that was the same dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, it got banned from Adult Swim because there's a teddy bear coming on a girl, and it's crazy. But it's a fun one. I like it a lot.
Okay, well
That's a good show. That is a good show.
that was my question.
He also helped direct Anomalisa, which is another Charlie Kaufman screenplay. He gave a lot of feedback to the screenplay. And who directed Anomalisa?
Charlie Kaufman himself, I think.
Okay, cool. So I know they worked on it together. So I might have got the roles reversed where Michael Gondry helped with the screenplay and Charlie Kaufman directed it, but they both invested a lot of time into it. But yeah.
Anyways, that's technical for
Are we
The
going into
and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So next category, I forgot. What was the
Emotional
next?
impact.
Okay. John, emotional impact / exponential. I can't.
So we're
Exponential.
Y'all had to say it.
Exponential crisis.
right now we're talking about now we're talking about the exponential crisis and then impact next.
Exponential.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
it
So we're
is.
talking about the existential crisis / emotional impact of the film.
I meant to say
So
existential.
impact is after existential.
Existential.
No, existential right now and then impact.
And then the overall impact on the film industry.
So right now I'm only talking existential.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like how the movie makes you feel.
Okay.
Sad.
Yeah. So every time I rewatch Eternal Sunshine, I notice a different layer to the story, which is a sign of a perfect film, one you can appreciate over and over and notice something new every time you slap the disc into the DVD player. The film impacts how many people feel about love. It can either change or solidify your opinion on the matter. For me, it solidified it. Love is just opening yourself up for sadness and disappointment. So what's the point other than a few moments of happiness? But
Period.
That's one
Yeah.
way to look at it.
It's my way.
No, that's what I love about the movie too, because you can look at it in a very
Oh my
optimistic or pessimistic way.
yeah. I don't know, man. I'm done.
Don't say it.
No,
What?
John, you can do so much more than that. I know you can. You love this movie. It's your favorite movie, right?
Yeah.
Then you can. I know you can talk about it, man.
All right. Any questions for John?
I have a question.
I have a question.
Oh, okay, go.
John, if this movie's about love, why didn't it help me get a girlfriend? Explain one.
well,
There are other
Well.
factors beside the movie that played into that.
yeah, PJ wearing a Minion shirt.
Okay.
You have a Minion shirt?
Bud.
It's an inside joke.
Oh, okay.
Remember, you're
All
not.
right.
You can't talk. You can't talk.
I agree with PJ. I really want a boyfriend, so yeah. Y'all hit me up.
Explain it. Tell me, where's my girlfriend?
Yeah, I watched the movie now.
I have no comment on this.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. Andreas, did you have a question?
I did
for
have a
John?
question. What was that?
Okay,
Oh my
what is it?
god.
Okay, what is it?
All right, my question was that how do you view the impact of cycles in the movie? Because we see that everything is kind of a cycle of love in a way. So with Kirsten Dunst's character and the doctor, they're kind of it's first revealed that they were in a relationship before, but they kind of cycled back on each other, or she cycled back on him to once again fall in love with him, and then again with Joel and Clem, where they cycled on each other back to falling in love with one another. How do you feel that benefits the film?
I mean, it once again just shows that love is repetitive. It's the same thing over until you get tired of each other, or until you have kids. Really,
Ooh, hot take. Not really.
Yeah, we hate children.
Yeah, fuck them kids.
Amen.
Keep that in, Andres. You're a lady boy.
I'm keeping that in.
I thought I had a question. It might have gone away. I don't remember what movie it was about. Oh,
well,
no.
Andres hasn't presented.
Oh, I have. Oh, yeah, right.
Okay, I do have a comment. I think the doctor was a little too old for her, but you do you, sis.
Florence Pugh is dating someone who's 30 years older than her, so you do you, I guess.
Oh my
Florence
God.
Pugh? Yeah, she's doing that.
Next.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the existential crises present in The Master. So I touched on this before in plot and characters, but I think the ending is something that should make every person reflect on themselves, because Philip Seymour Hoffman tells Joaquin Phoenix's character that once he leaves that room, he's no longer part of the cause. He doesn't want anything to do with him, and he never wants to see him ever again. Right? That's Lancaster Dodd to Freddie Quell.
I really wasn't expecting that, honestly.
Well, when you look at it, is that Lancaster Dodd basically realized that Freddie Quell is a very self-destructive man, especially when he's following somebody.
It took him long enough.
Yeah, he basically, and that I think that also was from pushing from his wife. There's a scene towards the middle of the film where they're having a discussion where they want to excise Freddie from the cause because they see him as this guy who's basically going to bring in the undoing of it. But it's through hanging out with Freddie that Lancaster warms up to him. But they go a considerable amount of time without each other, so maybe it's implied that through that Lancaster changed his mind, or he was more easily influenced, right? So what he says is essentially that once you learn to live without a master, come back and tell me. And I think that should make everybody reflect on who sees that movie, because maybe we're all Freddie Quell to varying degrees where we need a master, and we're at the heel of people who have that charisma to be that master.
Any questions for Andreas?
Wait, before we get into the final part...
I think... Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I think everyone is really hitting points in this debate. Like, I just want to pat you guys on the back, because it's like, I'm not having any questions because a lot of the things that I was concerned about is being addressed.
Answered. True.
Yeah.
I had a question for you guys, the moderators, because I know all of you gave The Master 3 stars. I would like to know why that is.
All right, let me go first. I really don't know. I just didn't care for it. I'm sorry.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a film that can lose you. That's his film. That's P.T. Anderson for you right there. Like,
but a lot of scenes I was intrigued. Some of them did draw me in, but like then it cuts to a different scene and I just kind of lose interest. But that's just me. But I think it was really welly acted.
Really welly.
I can't talk today, y'all. Really well acted and shot. It was beautiful.
So,
but that's all I got.
So I think so. I agree with Cam with a lot of the scenes were very, very intriguing to catch my attention. I think the mainest problem for me, mainest.
That's not a word.
I can't talk. Welly.
I think the biggest problem for me was the fact that how much of a slow burn it is. Mm-hmm. And I have the attention span of a fly. I literally cannot stay on something, and it was just really, really difficult and I did not like it, but then the end really sold it to me. Like the last where I think it's just when everything clicked that this is an entire cult and everything. I was like, oh, okay, this is
Well, I think to add on to that is that I think with a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson's films, they focus more on the technical aspect of the acting, the writing, and the directing over sometimes actual entertainment factors. So that's why I think, some scenes can lose you while some scenes can engage you. That's just a common criticism rallied against his work, but I still think it's great.
I really liked the scenes where Freddie was just running into the wall over and over again. And then
I love that montage.
Making out with the window. That was very funny.
You just like it because he yelled at Rami Malek?
Yes, I was like...
All homies hate Rami Malek.
I also would like to
Why?
do that
Why do you hate Rami Malek?
because
I don't.
I hate
Oh,
his
she does?
stupid face. I hate his stupid face and his stupid teeth and his stupid big eyeballs. I hate you. I
Rami
hate
Malek,
you,
if
Red
you're listening to this, I love you, Mr. Robot.
Understandable.
Do not cut that out. I want him to
Oh
hear
no,
it.
I'm keeping that. But I love him, Mr. Robot. He's fantastic in that movie. In
Yeah, I
that
don't-
show, not movie.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right, PJ, what
I'm
were your
sick.
thoughts on The Master?
Well, in my review, it says I gave it a 6, but after I wrote the review, I was like, you know what? So looking at the other movies, I gave a 6, and I was like, yeah, this is more of a 7, so I moved it up to a 7.
Sometimes I do that.
Yeah, I just didn't update the review. Looking at
PJ,
it, what?
So you specified in your letterbox review that you didn't really enjoy Eternal Sunshine and you wanted to not let anybody.
Oh yes, can you elaborate on that?
I'm gonna be honest, right? 5 minutes into the movie, they're on the train talking to each other. I'm like, this is the end of the movie, right? It felt so predictable. It felt so predictable.
I did not predict that. When
And I was kind of upset that what I thought was gonna happen was gonna happen. Usually I'm not, but I was like, it wasn't even like I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, okay, this is how it's playing out. I would recommend the movie to people. It's definitely deserving of a rewatch, 100%. I don't know, man.
True.
That's fair.
I just didn't think it was.
You don't know, man.
No, I mean that's fair. Like,
No, I know that it wasn't for me, and it seemed I might just not be big brain enough, or I might have just be too brain.
You watch Rick and Morty, don't you? You're big brain enough. You watch Rick and Morty, don't you? You're big brain enough.
Heck
I do watch
no.
Rick and Morty, but I don't use Reddit every day, so that might be where the discrepancy is from.
that's why you don't have a girlfriend right there.
Because I don't use Reddit?
Yeah.
PJ, I'll tell you how to get a girlfriend. Just go on meetspin.com.
No,
Oh my.
That's all
no.
you gotta do. Just do it, and then they'll teach.
Anyways.
Look,
anyways,
it's just right there. How to get a girlfriend.
Anyways,
What is that?
Just go on it, Rima.
What is it?
beatspin.com.
Go on meetspin.com.
I'm scared.
Go on it.
Meets.
Wait, are you on incognito by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hey, go
literally
Go on
giving
meetspin.com.
it away.
My review.
Like,
Just in the podcast,
Would
please.
like-
Go on
I'm not
meetspin.com.
keeping this in the podcast.
I want to hear a reaction.
meat spin. Wait, what? How do you? Which meat is it?
Just
Meatspin.com.
MEAT.
Type of MEAT?
You know.
MEAT. It's SPIN.
SPIN.com.
Wait, my.
This episode is so long.
We're already at an hour and 22 minutes.
Oh wait, that's kind of cute though. Kind of cute.
Anyway.
I don't think you went on the right website.
Anyways.
Anyways, okay, so Impact, right? We're on Impact.
Yep.
No category.
Moving on to Impact. All right, who's going first for Impact?
Rock, paper, scissors, Andres.
No, okay. So the impact for the Master is that I think it's a very solid drama, but also in this current age of film, where it only came out 8 years ago, so it's fairly recently, but in this current age where most studios feel comfortable funding very adaptation movies, either remakes, sequels.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah, to an extent I am too. But I think that when you propose a film with an original concept, studios get very cold feet. But with The Master, I think it's proof that you can make an artistically fulfilling film and also make it very good. And I think pleasing to most film goers to an extent.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't a big success. It wasn't a huge success, but it did make enough money to, make back its budget. So I think that the impact that The Master has is to forward more challenging films in this current age of superhero movies and remakes and what have you.
Maybe more cult films too.
Yeah, well, with cult films, they come out.
I agree.
Wait, what do you mean, like cult classic film or this cult film?
No, like, cults, like
Oh, well,
Scientology.
Scientology kind of runs Hollywood, Tom Cruise. But yeah, I think that if, we get more films analyzing that cult aspect, because the thing that makes The Master different from other cult movies is that, they're always portrayed, like, these cult leaders are portrayed as a Charles Manson type, they're charismatic but violent. They're just psychotic people. They're schizophrenics, what have you. But with The Master, Lancaster Dodd never kills anybody. He only loses his temper twice in the movie, but he's just a very calm guy, which is how most cult leaders are. Like most of the successful ones, like L. Ron Hubbard was like that. He's a very calm and collected guy.
Yeah.
Every time you say that, I think you're saying Ron Howard.
No, L. Ron Hubbard.
Any questions for Andres?
Yeah, actually, I want a little bit of a clarification.
Yeah.
Unless if I just missed it, which is entirely possible.
That's okay.
What you were just discussing about the cult movies, how exactly is that an impact? Is it just it's leading the way for future cult movies?
No. Cam just brought it up, and I just elaborated on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe more. It'll bring up more, or it has
more taboo films, because I think films should be taboo to an extent. I think films should not be afraid to tackle those subject matters that we don't feel comfortable tackling.
I love those movies. They're so fun.
Yeah, that's why I like Cats so much.
Shut up.
Me too. John, impact of Eternal Sunshine.
Basically the same thing. I especially think that Eternal Sunshine is extremely influential regarding films that choose to follow a non-linear storytelling approach. That's really it.
Well, any questions for John?
Yeah, John. You there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How do you feel Eternal Sunshine impacted or influenced future romance movies in Hollywood?
I feel like Eternal Sunshine is a deeper romantic film than many others, not only just in its storytelling elements, but in its depiction of relationships. I feel like it's just a lot more realistic than what you normally see.
That's true. It dives more into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah.
Any more questions for John?
How do you think Charlie Kaufman in general has impacted the film industry?
Not just Eternal Sunshine?
Yeah, but I think Eternal Sunshine is just a continuation of what he's done with his career. Very original movies that examine the human experience on a deep level.
Oh yeah, that's really it. Just that's what I want to I feel like he gives screenwriters more inspiration to, like you said, make films more based on the human experience and the truth behind a lot of things, as opposed to not necessarily dumbing it down for audiences in Hollywood, but more. Yeah, I guess.
So, do you think movies have become much more weird since Eternal Sunshine?
Not really.
Or not less afraid to become weird?
I feel like the weirdness barrier is down quite a lot. And I feel like a lot of creative minds in Hollywood aren't so much there anymore for the creative artistic expression as opposed to the money that's involved with it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like creativity has declined quite a lot. But
Except for David Lynch.
Amen. But have y'all completely off topic. Have y'all been watching his daily weather reports?
What? He's doing that? What?
The cutest things ever, but he literally looks like a skeleton. He looks so old and it makes me so sad. Sorry, I just had to say that. Y'all should watch them. They're really cute. Okay, any more questions for Impact? Okay, awesome. So I think it's scoring time.
I believe it is scoring time.
It is scoring time.
So
I'm gonna go last.
I'm calling first.
I'm
calling
sorry.
first.
I don't think Rayma's been last yet, so there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hee.
I'll keep track of points. So
Yeah.
So first up, plot and characters. This one, oh my god, all of these were tough. But both movies very clearly are very character driven. Obviously, The Master being about just the journey of I want to call him Arthur Fleck.
He's the Arthur Fleck for a more intelligent man.
Arthur, are you saying Joker isn't for the intelligent?
Oh my god.
Maybe.
You know what, Andres? I've had enough of your Joker slander during this episode. I didn't want to say anything because this was The Master versus Eternal Sunshine, but I'm tired of it. The Joker is a good movie.
It's all right. I just don't buy the hype behind it. I just don't think it's like the best movie of the year.
It's not the best movie of the year at all.
I really enjoyed Joker.
It's less than okay.
It's less than okay.
I think it's okay.
Cam, you like cats. Your opinion.
Whoa. Let's not go there.
Andreas,
this is when I change my Joker review on.
wait, I'm gonna go look what you said.
No.
Don't change it.
It was like a 4 star. It's like 4.5 stars.
Don't change it. Do whatever you want. I'm just curious right now. Hold on. Where'd you go? Where are you? Okay. Did you delete it?
What's there?
It's not here.
No,
no,
I didn't write an actual thing. I just
4 stars. And a heart. Wow.
What did I give this? I gave it 4 stars.
A heart.
Controversial take. Controversial.
Don't do that.
All right.
Wait.
So,
Okay.
Joker.
episode.
We should do Joker in a later episode, but yeah.
No.
No.
I won't be a part of it.
Everyone versus
Joker.
Raymond.
But yeah, I feel like in terms of the actual argument, I feel like John just presented the general message behind Eternal Sunshine better. Like it felt like Eternal Sunshine just had the idea of love very romantically driven and message heavy. I feel like he presented that in a way that I just didn't see with The Master. So my point goes to John for the first one.
Okay. Well, it's my turn. Both arguments were very well presented, but I have to go with Andreas because the way that he talked about the characters, it seemed like he really dove into them every time he watched the movie, and he knows like every bit about them, and it even taught me some things. So that goes
like
to
Amy
Andreas.
Adams' character is not committing incest in that movie.
See, I don't know why I thought that. Maybe because they both had red hair, but
No, they didn't. Oh, the daughter, yeah, she had she had red hair.
y'all, maybe I'm just going crazy. Maybe I'm losing my mind.
Watching too many David Lynch films.
Exactly. But yeah, that one's got to go to Andreas. But John, you did great too.
So, fuck, this is okay, I think I have to go with Andres with this one because, I mean, most of the points were said, but I also just, Andres just really went for it. It's like, I think both of you guys made really good, like, great points, but I mean, everything was just said with Cam, so, yes.
All right, next category.
Yeah, so round 1 goes to Andres 2-1. Round 2, acting. So this one hurts me. Because you all know I love Jim Carrey.
Me too.
But
Can you just say it, Pizza Boy?
Yeah, no, I'm going with Andres because just the idea it didn't really, the image of him both physically and emotionally, like Joaquin putting himself entirely in the role, I didn't realize it. But the verbalization of it by Andres really cemented that in my head. That's why I'm giving him the point.
Okay, this is tough because both were really good and all actors are great. I also have to go with Andreas just because the way he explained the acting was spot on. John's description was great too. I think everyone in Eternal Sunshine was perfect for their role. So yeah.
Can I Rama, before you go, I would just like to clarify that when Cam says I think all actors are great, James Corden is not included in that statement. I just want to make sure we're all aware that the Ticket Snubs podcast does not endorse the acting career of James Corden.
How dare
James Corden should not be considered an actor. He is a late-night TV show host.
Hold up. How can you say that? How can you say that? Because we all believed him when he was driving that car in California.
Okay.
Like, did you think he was driving that car?
Wait, what are you referring to?
Oh my god. So a picture
Oh,
came out
right.
in the car and someone's pulling
it's
me. He's not even driving.
It was a sad day. We all realized
He how dare you say that when he acts like he's driving, he has his hand on the steering wheel, he's singing. I should have known because he's never looking at the road. But saying he's not a good actor because of that is very disrespectful.
I'm saying he's not a good actor. He's
No, when
just not a good actor.
I say all actors, I mean just the actors presented in the movies that we talk about today.
All right, good.
Yeah,
Hey, James Corden made a cameo in The Master.
Did he actually?
Yeah, he was the guy under the sand woman.
Well, are you joking? I don't know if
I
you're
am completely joking.
Oh.
Can you imagine
Okay.
Joaquin Phoenix humped the sand person with James Corden under it?
My mouth just dropped. I was like, oh my god, Joaquin Phoenix humped James Corden.
Okay, no, I don't mean all actors, because obviously not every actor is good, like Rami Malek.
Okay, that's debatable.
Let's
Okay, good. Okay, so I am gonna give it. John, I love you, man. I gotta give it to Andres though, because really, I really enjoyed the fact that you mentioned the fact that Joaquin Phoenix really does take charge for whatever role he has. It's hard for me to believe that that's the same Joaquin Phoenix from The Master, the same one from Her, the same.
They're all loners. That's the common thread.
Hey, what are you trying to say about Joaquin Phoenix?
He's good at playing loners because he is a loner.
Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know, guys. Joaquin Phoenix is just so handsome.
He's a weird dude.
He's so attractive. Anyways, Andres, you get the point.
Thank you.
All right, next category.
I'm gonna make this one short and sweet. Technical category. I'm giving it to John. Those transitions, man. Chef's kiss. You know it.
I also have to go with John because the way that he explained how it's like a reoccurring thing, like it's just one big loop. And the cinematography is, I personally believe, way more beautiful in Eternal Sunshine. And the way that John described it was spot on. So that one goes to John. Is John even here? He hasn't talked in years.
John.
Okay, hey. Next.
Rima.
Hey, Mr. John gets it.
Do you want to elaborate?
All right. Yeah. Just because.
I'm reading and then it cut me off. No, I think PJ and Cam explain. I understand why no one wants to go last now
Exactly.
because everyone gets their point.
All right.
So number 4, the existential crisis, emotional. I'm gonna be honest. I'm looking at my notes, and for Andres, I just wrote "wow, just." So I guess I'm giving it to Andres. I don't remember what I was thinking. I was thinking, wow, just.
Do you want to elaborate on that, or?
I wish I would have.
I mean, he did. It's just wow. Just.
I gotta go with John because the way that he explained how love is portrayed in the film, it's literally just people getting tired of each other until they have kids or something.
That hit too close to home.
That stuck in my head, and it's right. That is what is portrayed in Eternal Sunshine, and I never really thought of it. I knew that they were tired of each other, but I thought I don't know. I just have to give it to John because he explained it perfectly.
Like, you had a more optimistic outlook on the film?
Yeah, I was gonna give it to John, and then it was gonna be the exact reason Cam said it, and because it is. It does show a great portrayal of a couple that's together for really long, and they get tired of each other, but they want to make it last.
Yeah, when I first watched it, sorry to cut you off. When I first watched it, I was like, I thought it was like a positive, uplifting film for some reason. I don't know how or why.
I see it as an uplifting film too. Personally, I see it as an uplifting film.
but later on, I was like, this is heartbreaking and literally so accurate. So that's what I think. Rayma, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Don't worry. Yeah, I mean, I had the roughest time when I watched that movie for the first time.
Yeah.
But it helped me a lot. So
Yeah. Understandable. All right. Next category.
All right, the final category. Just so we are all on the same page here. Round 1 went to Andreas 2-1. Round 2 went to Andreas 3-0. But round 3 went to John 3-0, and round 4 went to John 2-1. So right now it's 2-2. So this one decides it.
Okay.
It always comes down to the last one.
Wow.
So the impact of the film. Now, both sides definitely did a really good job at presenting the idea that both films break the mold in generally like the blockbuster age of Hollywood that we're in. All of these crazy CGI, pew pew. You know what I'm saying?
Except for Cats. Cats is art.
I'm done talking about Cats. I'm done talking about Cats. We save Cats for the Cats episode.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a Cats episode, by the way, if you guys didn't know at home.
We don't know what
there
Cats
will
is
be
going up
not, and
against
if
yet.
there is, I will not be present.
There is one. Yeah, we have one on the slate.
I can get my friend on. We could get our first guest for that one
Oh,
because
can we? That'd be awesome.
he very much wants to be on an episode.
Okay.
Cats
Is he a fan?
I don't think he knows what the name of it is yet.
Carson's a fan. I'll invite her
No,
on.
a fan of Cats. I meant.
Oh yeah, I saw it with him. He fell asleep for half an hour.
Carson is not a fan of cats. So it's tragic. What were we talking about?
Impact.
The impact, the final category.
About like CGI movies and stuff.
So yeah, both sides present that they both break the mold in the blockbuster age of high budget, bright colors, flashy lights, money. But I feel like John did a better job of elaborating onto it by discussing the idea of like the realistic portrayal of relationships, along with the furthering of nonlinear storytelling in the modern age. And I wrote straight up for my last bullet point, so straight up going to John.
Okay, this is really tough. I've been playing it out in my head, thinking I have to give it to John also, because the way that romance films are now, they're so boring. They're so cliche, stupid, lame, pathetic. But Eternal Sunshine, it brought on something new, and we see the dark, nasty sides of the relationship that make you just want to rip your heart out, throw it in a trash can,
and cry.
Yes, and John described it perfectly, and the film does that perfectly too. And I want more films like that today, and I hope it happens soon. So that one goes to John. Rayma.
Everything was said for me, so I literally don't know what else to say. But yeah, John the man, Johnny.
Here's
Jonathan.
Jonathan,
Papa
yeah.
Jonathan.
It's funny because his name is just John.
No, not that one.
Oh, his name is just John?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I think, right? Yeah, no, I'm not.
That's so cool. Okay, anything else?
All right, so I think with that, round 5 goes to John, making John the winner of episode 3 of Ticket Snubs.
Oh my god, 2 times.
Eternal
Oh my
Sunshine.
god, he's won twice.
Second time champion.
John, what do you have to say for yourself?
I don't deserve it.
Oh my.
John, you deserved it because you were prepared.
I'm going to show up as a furry.
Look what you did, John. Goodness. Both arguments were great, though. I was sitting here just nodding my head.
John, yes.
Yeah, there was a lot.
John, you were fantastic. Andres, you were fantastic. Both of you were fantastic.
Yeah, I agreed on like everything. So it was
something I want to say about this whole thing is that I think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a superior film by a long shot. So, yeah.
I agree.
It's just much more creative. I love the creativity with the mind stuff they do. personally.
Oh yeah.
Also, I'm a complete simp, so yeah, of course.
Ha ha.
Shut up, PG.
All right.
You don't go on Reddit every day.
Oh
So
my.
with that, Andres, I think it's time for your movie recommendation.
My
for next
movie
week.
recommendation. Okay, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was between two films, but I'm gonna go with this one because I think it's one you're gonna like. It's a mystery film. It's not in English, so I hope you guys don't mind subtitles.
I do not mind one bit.
Okay,
I
it's
don't.
on Netflix, and it is called Burning. It is a South Korean film.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
3
John,
hours.
John, have you seen it?
No, it's been since like 2 years ago.
3 hours?
Mm.
That's so
No,
hot.
it's 2.5 hours long.
Oh, that's so
But
hot.
it goes by
Um,
so quickly.
I've wanted to watch this for maybe about 2 years now, since whenever it came out, but I do know the ending, unfortunately.
Is this the
Hopefully
movie
it
with
was-
Stephen Yeun in it?
Yes, it is. It stars. It is a Korean film, but it does have Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead in it.
Yes.
So, and I love foreign films personally because I think it sheds a new light on our understanding of film. So I just want to recommend a very, very great foreign film that is also extremely well written
Well, I'm excited.
and well acted. Yes,
As am I.
it's a great mystery film.
I got spoiled the ending, and I'm sad.
I'm sorry, John. Hopefully
what
when you
year?
watch the film, you'll still appreciate it. That's what I want you to get from it.
What
Yeah.
year is the film?
It was released in
18.
2018, so it's a recent
Oh,
film.
I can't
Nice.
find it.
It's on
So I
Netflix.
watched Stephen.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I've watched Stephen Yeun in any. Actually, no.
He wasn't Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to bother you. Yeah, I was about to
We
say.
should talk about that on the
Other than
podcast.
that,
I'm
Other
sorry to
than-
bother you. I hated
other
it.
than that,
I hated it a lot.
Haven't watched him since The Walking Dead when they killed off Glenn, which I'm still very, very, very angry about.
He's a very likable actor. That's what I'm gonna say.
I think that's a good time to close out.
So I think it's time to wrap
But
things
yeah,
up.
thank you all for watching. Have an excellent time. I hope you all enjoy Burning, both the ticket snubs and the people watching at home. And love each other.
Oh, wait. PJ has something to say.
Yes. Next, just a reminder. Next episode is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, presented by yours truly, up against Rocky Horror Picture Show, presented by Cam.
That's gonna be so hard.
And so,
That's
I love both of those movies, so this is going to be an interesting one.
But PJ,
Now you know
you
my-
also
my
have
struggle.
another thing to say.
What? Oh, I do have something to say.
Yes.
To stray somewhat from my normal outro, I would like to share that thank you all for watching, and just a reminder that Bill and Ted 3, Bill and Ted Face the Music, releases August 21st, 2020 in the US.
Very
oh my
true.
God. Is it VOD or in theaters?
In theaters as of right now.
Oh, nice.
So with that,
Support Keanu.
support Keanu, and rock on, dudes.
Amen.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Birds, lady boys.
Lady
Lady
boy.
boy.